Today we're going to talk about 5 scandalous examples of female nature that men who are blinded by love often ignore. Now, when we say female nature, what do we mean? We mean the nature of the woman. We don't mean the choices that she makes. We mean the absolute bare essentials nature of a female. The way she's going to respond in certain situations to certain stimuli are controlled and affected primarily and absolutely even by her nature. The same way a dog's nature is what it is, a fish's nature is what it is. During a certain time of year, we know the crappie are going to spawn. Why? Because it's in their nature. No matter what the weather does, once it gets that time of year for them to spawn, they're going to do it, whether they do it on the bank or they do it in 20 feet of water, it's going to get done. Now, what's the first thing that men overlook when it comes to the scandalous nature of females? What do I get if something happens to you? Even what do I get if we break up? What do I get for these 7 years I put into this? What do I get for these 10 years I put into this? What do you mean what you get? What have you been getting? How scandalous is it for a woman that you've been in a relationship with for all of this time? Trust me, if a woman has been in a relationship with you for more than 5 years, she was in a relationship with you because you were giving her a relationship. And in relationships, women get all of the benefits in this particular society. So what does she mean? What does she get for the past 10 years? What do you get for the past 10 years? The fact that she wants something on top of everything she's gotten, it just goes to show you that her nature is even deeper than most men care to look. She's not asking you what she gets as far as what are you going to pay her off. She's asking you, what does she get? Her primary goal was to be with you that long so she can get the ring and the wedding and the lockdown rights to you as a man. But if you're not going to last and you're ready to break up, how does she ask you, what do I get if something happens to you? Hey man, there are men who still pay bills at the house with the woman that they're not with anymore because she wore that, well, what am I going to get? All this time I put in with you? What do you mean all this time you put in with me? Shout it, all this time I put in with you. Relationships are a burden to men. Some men take on that burden, but it's a burden nonetheless. So how scandalous is it for a woman to strictly be concerned about what she's going to get out of the scenario that you contributed to more than she did? Even in a situation where a woman pays the lion's share of the bills, a man still contributes more, because when a man pays the lion's share of the bills, a woman feels like it's her right. When a woman pays the lion's share of the bills, a man feels like he better do everything else because he doesn't feel like a man because the woman pays the bills. So he's going to do everything else and give up a little money when he can. So all she's going to have to do is go and get the money. He's not going to ask her to help around the house. If you pay all the bills, a woman still wants you to help around the house. So what does she mean? What is she going to get? That's just her scandalous nature. Ask a woman what that means and she won't even be able to tell you. It's just what she says. If you're married, your woman wants to know, what does she get if something happens to you? And men go that route. Men say, well, what do you get if something happens to me? Let me tell you something, brothers. And this real talk. Why would you feel like you need to leave what you have to your wife, who's then going to go and be with another man and enjoy the things that you left behind for her? You're basically setting her up to get the caliber of man that she couldn't otherwise get if you didn't leave her your goods. To live the life that she otherwise couldn't live if you don't leave her your goods. What do I get if something happens to you? What do I get if something happens to us and we don't make it? What do I get for my 7 years? Yeah, like, what do you mean? Even prisoners don't ask what do they get for their 7 years. A man go to prison for 7 years, he get out and go back to his life. He don't go before a judge and say, well, judge, what do I get for those 7 years I was in prison? If anybody should be asking what they get, it's the man should be asking what he gets. Another scandalous example of the female nature that men who are blinded by love often ignore is trying to convince you to move into a spot with her name on everything. Men go into that scenario and believe, well, she wants to live together, man, because, you know, it's going to be better for us. She wants to spend more time with me, man. So the man gives up his place and moves in with the woman the overwhelming majority of the times. It is rare that a woman gives up her place and moves in with a man. You find a woman who moves in with a man, she probably didn't have nowhere to go, or she was about to, her lease was about to be up, or a woman does not forego her freedom to go be with a man unless she absolutely has to. A man will give it up just because he thinks, because the woman tells him she thinks it's going to be better for them. Never base what you do on what a woman thinks. Because what she thinks is the same thing as what she feels. So if you base it on what she thinks, you're basing it on what she feels. Any woman who asks you to give up your freedom, to move into a place, not a joint place, a spot with everything in her name, she's pretty much telling you, come and let me control you and abuse you and misuse you. It doesn't get any more scandalous than that. A woman knows what she's doing, man, when she wants you to come live with her. I've seen situations where the man and the woman had their own spot. Man, they sat there and debated, going back and forth, man, until they both decided to just stay in their own spot. The woman was not going to budge, and the man decided he wasn't going to budge. In those other situations, the man budges. The man gives up what he has. I do know one couple who they both had their own crib. They got together and bought a bigger crib. I mean, but they both were super paid. That's a different ball game when they're both super paid. For the most part. So and men don't even think about that. Men don't say, okay, she wants me to give up everything that I have, everything that my name is on, and come to a spot where everything her name is on it. Because you know what, she convinces you that what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. But that's not how it goes. As a man, your motto has to be this. You have to live by this creed. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine, but everything that's mine, I share with you. A woman can't say the same thing. You let her control everything, she's not going to share everything with you. Women don't handle control well. Especially those who have never had any inkling of control before. They don't handle it well. So next time a woman tells you that, hey, we should move in together, come move in my spot. I don't care if her spot is bigger. It don't matter. You know, never move into a spot with a woman name on everything, man. It's a trap. She knows it's a trap. She said it. Let her give up everything, come live with you if you want to live with her. You know, if you want to cohabitate with her, let her give up everything, come live in your spot where you control everything. She understands that control. You don't, because you're blinded by love. She's not. Another example of female nature that men who are blinded by love overlook is putting a child on you that she knows isn't yours. Now, what does that mean? See, you think that means a woman telling you that this is your child and you find out it's not. No. I'm talking about if you're a man who meets a woman with a child, she knows the child isn't yours, you know the child isn't yours, she had it when you got there, and she still tries to put it on you. She wants you to come in and be a father to another man's child, even though that man is still active in that child's life. She wants you to come in and replace that man so she don't have to have any dealings with that man, because she still got feelings for him. Whether they're good feelings or bad feelings, whether it's hate, love, well, no matter what it is. She has feelings for him. She don't want to deal with him. And so she come in and uses you to fill in the gap. She doesn't even think about the child's well-being. She thinks it's better for that child to have this new man in his life. Women don't understand this. There's going to be a conflict of interest in that child's psyche because that child is his father. It inherited all of his father's particular mental, physical, and spiritual nuances. They are there. And so you bring in a strange man who doesn't know this child, who doesn't have that same upbringing, doesn't have that same lineage, and he's imputing his definition of wisdom, understanding, knowledge, or his version of it in this child. This child is going to be confused because everything this child is being taught is more than likely going to go against what's inside of this child. So you got this fake kid growing up into a fake man in a real world. But she doesn't even think about that. She wants what she wants at that particular time. She wants a man to come in and do what she needs a man to come in and do. And what she needs a man to come in and do is come in and be a daddy to this child. Now, if you want to go on the base level that we shouldn't even have to talk about, if a woman has a child and says it's yours and it's not yours, and y'all together and it's not yours, then that's a totally different thing. But we shouldn't even have to talk about that. This isn't the space for that. If you need to hear about that, then you're not advanced enough to be in this particular environment. No man should stay in that situation, but men stay in it all the time. But that's not a man who's blinded by love. That's a man who's a sucker. He isn't blinded by love. He's blinded by his need to forgive a woman. He's blinded by his need to keep the woman. He's blinded by his need to need the woman. Bad situation. So my problem with the stepdad thing isn't the fact that you're a stepdad. My thing is you obviously don't know how you're being used to be in that scenario. That you allow a woman to use you in that particular way. She's the only one who benefits from that. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. But for the most part, she's the only one who benefits in that scenario. I know some beta male semi Johnny gonna come in here and say, well, Dr. BOA, the stepdad, uptight come in and the child ain't got no real dad. I didn't have a father, Dr. BOA. And my stepdad, he did a lot. He did everything for me until him and my mom broke up, and then I never saw him again. Exactly. You never saw him again because he wasn't your father. That only works. Let me tell you something. A child only benefits from having a stepdad, man, if the mom and the man stay together forever. If they stay together, at least until the child is an adult. If they don't stay together until the child is an adult, then the child is going to even be more damaged than he would have if he had just had to deal with an absent father. Or shall I say a father who isn't in the home every day. That's a deep one, man. That deserves its own dedicated video right there. Another one that's simple, that men end up finding this one out, somewhere down the line, man, at the end of a marriage. Divorce court shenanigans. When a woman is in divorce court trying to destroy you, there's no greater example of the nuances of female nature. The negative energy of female nature. There's no better example than a woman's divorce court shenanigans. She's trying to take you down through there. She don't want to agree on nothing. She wants to take you down. She wants to see you doing bad. And 9 times out of 10, she divorced you and you didn't even know what was going on. She the one was cheating. She the one had another man. Or a woman. Or both. Divorce court shenanigans, man, when you're in family court, man, going through a divorce, man, those shenanigans, man, should make you understand. And let me tell you why they should make you understand all female nature, even though that's just one woman you're dealing with. This is a woman who made vows to you, stayed with you all of this time, came up off of your hard work, lived a certain quality of life off of your hard work, had everyday companionship, an everyday ear to cry in, an everyday shoulder to cry on, an everyday confidant, an everyday, lover. You understand? An everyday validator. She had that every day for all of that time. Then she'll go in court and she'll try to rip you apart. How much better do you think you're going to fare with a woman who hadn't been through all that with you, who hadn't benefited from your presence in her life that way? Any man who's being married should never trust another woman enough to be in a relationship. Not a serious relationship. No man who's been married and divorced should do that. But these guys go right back and get married again. Why? Because you overlooked female nature. Because you need to get that thing done. You need to feel a certain way about a wife. You need to feel a certain way about having a woman. You need to feel like the dream that you believed in your whole life is real. And so even after divorce court shenanigans, you back in another marriage. Sometimes you back married to the same woman who just took you to the... How you going to let one woman divorce you twice? Think about the man who allows one woman. It's already bad enough to get divorced twice by 2 women. How you gonna let one woman even be in the position to divorce you twice? That's a man who's blinded by love, man. He's blinded by love. Another, and this is a big one. This one is huge. Coming home having sex with you, knowing that she's been out having sex with another man. Coming home having sex with you that night when she's been out having sex with another man that day. Now, I know some beta male mangina or some butthurt female gonna come in here and say, well, Dr. BOA, well, how do you even know? How can you even tell that? If you ask her, she gonna say no. How do you even know? You can't know. I used a douche before I came there. Everything feels like the way it is. Oh, well, how do you know? Let me tell you something, man. And this real talk. If you've been having sex with a woman for a long time, and all of a sudden, some new freakiness that only happens once comes out, that's leftover sexual energy from the man that she already had sex with, or the man that she wanted to have sex with and they couldn't have sex. That's leftover sexual energy. You know you don't move that woman that way, make her do those things. You never have. And you don't suddenly become the type of man that's going to make a woman do that. No, the sex goes downhill and it doesn't come back up the other side and rise to new peaks. So if out of the blue, she comes with something she's never done, I mean, something you couldn't get her to do, something you've argued with her about, you couldn't get her to do it. And then suddenly she come home and do it, man, and she does it in a way that makes you feel like she desires you in a way that you've never known her to desire you. Don't be a fool. She doesn't desire you. You're just you're an easy fill-in for the guy that she really wants to be with. And so she's fantasizing. He's probably mistakenly calling you his name. If a woman mistakenly calls you anybody's name, male or female, while y'all in the midst of having sex, she wants that person. That person is on. How can anybody be on your mind while you're having sex except the person you want to be having sex with? But guys deal with this type of foolishness all the time. All of the time. It's crazy out here, man. This is another thing you guys deal with. You guys who end up getting caught up in living with a woman in her spot with everything in her name. If a woman puts you out of the house for disagreeing with her. I'm talking about well, you could get out of my house then. If a woman tells you that, bro, that's her way of telling you, you fool. I got you now. See how much control I have over you, fool? I can tell you to come and go as I please. And you got to come and go as I say. The fact that she calls it her house in the first place. Get out of my house. That should be your sign to get out. If a woman tells you to get out, you should get out. You shouldn't be begging and pleading and tell my baby, let's work it out and doing all that. And even trying to guilt trip her. Man, you know how to gave up my spot, man. I moved all the way here with you, blah, blah, blah. I want you to listen to yourself. Whenever you trying to whine to a woman and trying to convince her not to go with what she's saying she going with, or trying to convince her y'all need to work it out, I want you to listen to yourself. Instead of listening to see what her response gonna be, listen to yourself. Listen how you sound like a groveling idiot sitting there, man, begging on that woman like that. If that don't snap you out of that beta male funk you in, nothing will. Nothing will. And the last thing on this particular list, man, is this. Calling the cops on you just to prove a point. Calling the cops on you is bad enough. Now, I'm not saying, hey, man, y'all can feel how y'all want to feel like this, about this, but I'm not saying you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want to do to a woman, man, and dog out and treat her bad and beat her up and break stuff on her, and she not call the cops on you. Yeah, she need to call the cops on you. The people need to come see about you. Something wrong with you. You way too far in your emotions, and people need to come see about you. Come sit you down somewhere for a little while till your man back up again. Because right now you're acting like a male female. Now, when a woman calls the cops on you, man, especially as a black man, she has absolutely no concern for your well-being, for your life. When a woman calls the cops on a black man, especially if he's done nothing to deserve that, she's pretty much saying, I don't care if they take you on a dark country road and beat your brains out. She's saying, I don't care if they choke you out. She's saying, I don't care if they shoot you. I don't care if they Rodney King you. I don't care if they George Floyd, Eric Garner you. I don't care what they do. I don't care if they Laquan McDonald you. I don't care what they do to you. Why would you even consider having another word with a woman like that? At any point. That is the most scandalous example of female nature. That men who are blinded by love often ignore. Because the man who she does that to will stay with her. I say this to you, men. You have a choice. You can accept the nature of the female, embrace it, ingratiate yourself to it, ingratiate it to you, and use it in a beneficial way every time you deal with the woman. Female nature is a wonderful thing. And in the next video, I tell y'all why female nature is such a wonderful thing. But in the meantime, you keep in mind these 5 examples of female nature that men who are blinded by love often ignore. And make sure that if you're in a relationship, you're not ignoring these things. Because if so, you're in the worst position a man could be in. And that's being blinded by love. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.